Good morning, guys. Welcome to this Thursday, May 29th. There's a couple of more days of trading in the month of May. Jeez. So a couple of more days of trading in May, and then next week we'll be in June. So at this point, uh, we're looking at a little bit of a lot of strength. We got the Nvidia earnings come out yesterday. And the market was a little bit hesitant, but reacted positively. And then when the overnight started kicking in the Asian market, we got this crazy run to the upside and then some. And now it looks like they're reversing most of that here right now going into the in the London session. But they were all the way up here to the 6,000s and massive run up here. Now reversing it all the way and reverse retesting the support areas here. It used to be resistance, but not support. So that's all the Nvidia fallout. Nvidia right now is up 690. It's like 141. So yeah, it's a pretty good move up on Nvidia. And they were probably a lot higher earlier on here before the London session start taking profits or running this lower. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens as the day session kicks in. Now, coming in news-wise today, we have at 8:30, we get the GDP read, second read probably of the first quarter. So the GDP, then we have jobless claims, we have a Fed speaker, corporate profits, all happening at 8:30. At 10 o'clock, we get penny home sales. At 10:30, we get the nat gas report. Goolsby speaking at 10:40. Oil report at noon. And a 7-year auction at 1. So a fair amount of news coming out today. And most of it front-loaded in the morning. So we'll see how that comes out. But that, in addition to the Nvidia, I think the market has a pretty good case for taking this higher. The only thing is I'm watching them reversing this whole thing from the overnight, and you have to ask yourself, okay, so let's see when they're going to find some support here. At this point, they're going to have to start off on the long side of the market. And it depends a little bit how far they retrace it. But if they retrace back below that 59.40s, I'm going to say probably start from the long side. Below that 59.30, probably the back range band on this. See how far they if they retrace it that far down. But this is a pretty interesting retracement, though. You can see it says pretty much straight down. So. Early on, overnight, running right up here, up to the 6,000s, and stalled. And they started getting into a little bit of resistance here on the way up there. And then right now, a pretty good momentum move to the downside. So we'll see where they find support. And but I would start off on the long side, looking to buy against support. The last one I would look to buy against is 59.30. Below that one, I would probably be just go back range bound and start looking at more range bound trading. Um, I would expect the Nvidia earnings, if they can hold on to it, that if it's if the expectation is good and the reaction holds throughout the day, that we're going to see higher prices towards the end of the day, though. That would be my expectation. But at this point, it's with this volatility back and forth, you kind of have to just take that with a grain of salt. But still looking to buy against support. I was going to say 59.55 here. We're sort of taking that out. And now we're then heading down to the 45s. And the last one was going to be down here at the 59.30s. So below 59.30s, I'm not going to look to buy against support. I'm going to be looking more. And still, well, I would still look to buy against support, but I would be pretty much in a range-bound bias. I would be looking for selling strength when if they start trading back up again from there. So in other words, to take out the 30s and starts trading back up, I would look for short setups against the 40 to 45s and the 55s a little bit more aggressively than I would at this point. So let's see how far they can take it, and if we get some a little bit of a follow through on the upside. So. So looking at this, you can see here there's a top left all the way heading down in the overnight. It was just the opposite. So pretty good profit taking selling going on here in the overnight, and it looks to me like we get a little bit of volume here right at the 8 o'clock hour. A little bit of pushback, I would think. So people may be starting to buy against these support areas now here. First at the 55s. It's kind of this area of support they ran into. They took it out. Now the next level down is 45 and then 30. So still looking to buy against these support areas for rotations back up. Uh, still hopeful that the Nvidia earnings or the fallout is going to be on the to the it's going to have a positive effect on today's trading. So they're really hammering it. You can see they're really leaning into this to run it lower. So a fair amount of volume, 130. Well, not a crazy amount, 137,000 in the overnight. The ES had 146,000, so a little bit higher than normal. Usually we stay around 100,000. So we'll see. We'll see. So it's not a crazy amount of volatility, but the run up and the complete retracement here is something. That's up to something. You traded the overnight. You had a lot of action going on there. So that's the way I'm going to start off the ES. At this point, only one level left before I take off that long bias, but we're done here, reverse retesting support, and below that 59.30, take off the long bias, go back range bound. Still looking for potential buying opportunities on the way down here. They could, okay, this guy should be just a little bit lower like that. They could potentially head all the way down here to test these lows. I mean, that would be something if they reverse that far down. But given this kind of reaction on the Nvidia earnings, I would expect a little bit more buying interest, a little bit more support as the day session kicks in. So that's how we get started. So watch that 59.30s. That comes out, take off the long bias and start going back range bound. Still looking to buy on the way down, all the way down here to this low at the 58.90s. 5900, 5890s. If they for some reason trade down below these two, well, the bets are off, and I would just start thinking about the short side at that point. But that means they retrace the whole overnight, the whole yesterday's day session, and then some. That would be something different, something it could have something to do with this court ruling about tariffs. I'm not sure how much of that is baked in there, but that court ruling just adds uncertainty to the whole situation. So we'll see how that plans out. But that's how we get started on the ES. Then we're looking at the bonds, bond market, backing off in the overnight, retracing a little bit right now. Still holding, well, they're right shy of that 112.10 level. So remember, we rolled the bonds to the September contracts. We're trading U25 on bonds. But we backed off below this area, the 112, 15, 16s. Happened, they kind of gapped down on that thing, and we rolled it to the new expiration, but they're trading a little bit below that edge. So we'll see if they can trade up above it. So same story there. If they hold below that 12, 15, 16s, we have a shot at taking this lower and testing these lows. So yields down yields up a little bit, bond prices to the downside, at least to get started. But this is a rollover. So, I mean, this is the first day on the U25 contract, so I'm not going to be too hard on what they're trading. Let's see if they trade up above that 112, 15, 16 in the day session, or if they're going to try to take this lower. So initially, I guess, going to watch it, not going to necessarily trade it today. I would be looking at buying against the 11 16s, 11 8s, looking to sell against strength. I was going to say the 24th, but it looks like they just took it out. 11 12 up to the 11 12 10. So above the 12, I would take off the I would start thinking about the long side. Above the 112.10, I think we are back up above that edge again. So let's see how they develop on the bonds. All the rollover is always an interesting time. Nasdaq, also pretty good retracement. Look at the Nasdaq. They popped up a little bit here, and they've been pretty much that highest tad, a little bit like that, yeah. So they opened around about 21.4, and they were traded all the way up to the 28 or 21.8, so 450 points to the upside. And now they retraced at least half of that, a little bit more. Then heading down to reverse retest the 600s, the 560s, 520s. And I would look, if they take out that 480, starts trading below the session low here, then well, take off the long bias and start thinking range bound trading. And if they trade all the way down to and trade all the way down to that 320, 330 levels, and down in this level, this area, well, then something is up. That's for sure. I would already below that 430s start thinking about the short side of the market, see how far they can trade. Because this probe to the downside was a pretty interesting, pretty violent one. It happened as part of the news announcement, so I would not necessarily count it. Late in the session, I had this crazy sell-off, and then a complete reversal to that. So I would be below the 430s here. I would start thinking about the short side on the Nasdaq. But we'll see. I mean, with this reaction on the Nvidia earnings, you shouldn't have that big of a retracement going on. That would be something else going on at that point. And then the only thing I can think of headline-wise I've seen so far is that tariff ruling. So we have it. So looking to buy weakness or looking to buy this pullback at 600s, the 560s down to the 520s, rotations back up. Last one would be at the 480s there. And on the way up, not going to be very aggressive on the short side at all. This is just a big probe to the upside. You can see how they're running right across everything here. So there was a small edge right there at the 670s. That looks like it's going to be it's going to stay pretty weak. I think the better edge is at 700, 710 here. You have a small edge and a edge right there at the 750 and 830. You have the I think the best short comes at around the 830s. You get that far up again for a potential pop to the downside. And if you look at capital flow on this guy, these guys are right up here against this congestion area right now. So that's kind of where they run out of gas. But they're well up above this resistance area, the 540s here, that three-letter ledge. They were up here testing it yesterday, but they've blown through it, and then we are trading above it. So we have a pretty good shot at continuing to the upside. I sad to see how this overnight or the pre-market pullback develops. You can see how that's nailing it on the way down here. So it's tempting to trade it this morning, looking at getting on a short trade here, but the overnight is always a little bit volatile, and it's hard to say when support's going to hold and it's going to turn it. But I thought they're gonna hold the line here a little bit earlier, but no, they took out that 700s and retracing these single prints right now. So next long opportunity, look for at around the 21,600s. See if they get there. And then finally, oil and gold. And gold, okay, popping a little bit. So they are to the upside just right now. Start trading higher. They're back up again above this, and back up to this attractor, 3330s. And now we are trading the August expiration. So we rolled gold to the August expiration. And they were a little bit lower after the roll, and they have traded right back up here to value. So pretty much holding around about the same area. So right now, Q25 on gold, right? So I rolled that yesterday to the new expiration. So I would start off range bound on gold. Watch that upper edge at the 3350 to 60s. This lower edge at the 3280 to 90s. And let's see if they can break out of that. Right now, it looks like they're taking it, time to take it higher. And I would look for short setups up to that 3350 to 60 edge. And if that comes out, I would hop on a long side and see if they can retrace and move this all the way back up here to there's some upper areas here. But they're definitely in that attractor area at the 3340s, 30 to 40s right now. But that volume edge right there, that comes out, they start trading above it. A bit of volume, I would look for a run up here to test the next level up, which is 3400. So let's see what's going to do in gold, but roll to the August expiration on gold. So initially looking to buy weakness, the 3327s, the 20s, the 3312s, rotations back up. Below the 3312s, I would not take off the long bias, and well, probably already above the 33, below 3320, 21 here. So if that comes out, I'll start retracing those single prints. I'm going to be back on the range bound. I'll be back range bound again. And if they get up here to the 3346s and the 55s, looking for short setups against these two resistance areas for rotations back down again. So that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. It could be a nice long trade here if they take out the resistance at 34s here to run it all the way up here to test that 48, 49 level. So watch for that. It could be something setting up. And you can see here, nice little grind to the upside on gold. So it's just like a net buying going on for sure. And then oil, they're still just holding in the range. So they're range bound. They run up here testing 63, testing the 63 level, right back down again. So they're trading around 61, 62 is the attractor area. And that's going back and forth here. So not much action going on oil. So that's a range bound market right now. So I would look to sell strength to 62.50 up to the 63s. I'd look to buy weakness 61.80, 61.50 down to that 60.90 level for rotations back up again. So few levels down, few levels up around what they're trading right now is kind of what I would look for. And let's see what happens with that one. But probably not going to be aggressive on oil. Has been pretty sloppy lately. It's not much directional moves on oil right now, but a couple of things could happen there. The Russian sanctions, if they come on, could certainly drive prices higher in the short term, or if you get some other supply piece of information, they could drop pretty hard as well. So we're waiting for what kind of news is going to drive this, and it's going to create the next move out of the middle on oil. But I would trade gold at least to get started from the long side and see how far they can take it. On the ES and NASDAQ, I would start from the long side of the market. Just be mindful this pullback is pretty big right now. So watching these lower support areas and let's see how far they can retrace this all the way up and then all the way right back down again before the market opens. So we've got some action going on here. Alrighty, guys. So that's how we get started. I'll wrap it there for now. So good trading. And let's see if this NVIDIA earnings now can get these markets going or start a new leg to the upside. The AI trade is back on again. All right. Alrighty, guys. See you back at 11:30 later.